All right, guys. I know to some of you this is no surprise, but maybe my naive mind, my innocent mind, I just didn't think it was going to happen. And I didn't think a scam would be this blatant. The day before has failed financially, and the dev is closing down just 4 days after launch. We don't have the funding to continue the work. Today, we announced the closure of Fntastic Studio. This is 4 days after the launch of the day before. Developer Fntastic is shutting things down. Today, we announced the closure of Fntastic Studio. The company says in a tweet, unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We invested all efforts, resources, and man hours into development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. Dude, this is some bullshit. My experience playing the game, how many of those assets that they have in the day before are actually their assets? I feel like, but this is my opinion now. And again, I was not keeping up with the story until we played the game, right? The writing was on the wall. Most of you were saying that this was a scam, okay? But I was like, dude, I just thought there's no way, right? Because that would be almost too obvious. I mean, you're scamming in broad daylight is what the day before really was. And maybe it was so obvious that it somehow got under my nose, man. I can't believe this. Somebody brought it up the other day that the assets they have in game, you can buy those same assets for a relatively low price. If they announce, let me ask them, if they announce closure, do they have to honor refunds? Because you just deemed yourself insolvent. You just went in and just said, we're insolvent. You just take the bag and go, right? I've seen this happen. Just IRL, I'm just saying. All right. Can we just acknowledge something? First up, this is the trailers that, like GameSpot and other people have put up leading up to it. A lot of us thought it, and this is pretty much in line with what we got. But the whole this scene right here where you're like running through the world and it seems to be like this lush, or at least there's danger lurking around every corner. It was nothing like that, right? Like I maybe saw like one person every time I went into the city. And then like zombies, I never saw a single horde of zombies. Not a single time did we see a horde of zombies. In some ways, this is such a perfect scam. You don't do anything originally. You take a bunch of game assets that you can buy for relatively cheap. You kind of just give off some bullshit as far as what the game is going to be. Yeah, it's going to be an MMO survival game, extraction shooter. Does it really matter what it's going to be? You just say a bunch of stuff, right? You say the game goes into early access. You charge money for it, right? You try to make everything look just good enough so that people come in here and actually buy it just to see, is it the next game? And then 3-4 days later, you close your shit down. I mean, you literally just take the bag. And for some of you saying right now it's Cyberpunk all over again, it's not. This is way worse than Cyberpunk. This is way worse than any game I've ever seen. Cyberpunk at CD Projekt Red, and at the end of the day, they buckled down and they made that shit happen. They had multiple updates. It's not even remotely the same. This is a straight up just scam. The way I'm looking at this is like, it's kind of genius. Like, look at this shit. This doesn't even exist. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, if I wanted to pull off a scam in the future, I would make a Destiny competitor, a Destiny 3, if you will. I would make a bunch of pre-rendered bullshit trailers and I would just sell that shit. And then I would say, hey, listen, guys, you can only play it. I'm just saying we need funding, right? We need funding, okay? But, got all this loot. It's a looter shooter. We're going to have raids. We're going to have dungeons. We're going to have all this. We're going to have PvP and PvE. And for $40, you can get early access today, all right? Rack in a bunch of pre-orders. Put the game online. You guys play it. Ultimately, it's shite. And then deem myself insolvent. Take the bag and run. And hold on. For some of my people saying that they're not gonna be able to get away with it. Isn't the company based out of Russia? Nothing against Russia. I'm just saying, what are we gonna do? Go to war? I hate to say it, guys. I hate to say it. Let me pull up the original tweet. Let me see the original tweet. Let me actually look at this real quick. Today we announced the closure of Fntastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before it's failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man hours into the development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game. Did you? You know what I mean? Did you really? But unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. I don't understand. You still had the game launch, and it still cost $40 for early access. What are they talking about? At the moment, the future of the day before and Prom Night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years. 2015, opening of the studio. 2017, release of the Wild 8. 2018, release of the Dead Dozen. Radiant 1, release of Prom Night, and then release of the day before. I haven't played any of those other games. Are they good? Can we talk about how IGN catapulted this game into the public eye by premiering the OG trailer? Look, here's the thing. Before you jump on anyone that was, promoting this game, or hype for this game, or we didn't hype it up, but I definitely had people, in my community that were excited about it. And dude, on the surface, when you watch the trailers and you hear what the game is trying to do, you get hyped. It's easy to get hyped from that. I don't know how you can go 3 days after, like, you would have known you were going into the hole way before this point, right? I see there are comment right here saying that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. Okay, sure. There are definitely companies that have been able to do crowdfunding campaigns to continue pushing things. But at the end of the day, you knew you were going into the hole. And with this happening merely 4 days after the launch, you knew what you were doing. There is no way you didn't know you were putting the game out here for early access and charging money for it without having the intention. I'm sure this tweet was ready Saturday, maybe even Friday. My opinion is that the sales were good enough, and then when the refunds started to flow money out, they wanted to go ahead and cut their losses right now. My opinion is now that they've closed their studio, they're not obligated to return those refunds. I don't know though. I don't know. I don't want to paint these folks to just be a bad guy. If there are other games, if Prom Night, Radiant, Dead Dozen, and Wild 8 were really actually good games, then maybe perhaps they did just bite off more than they can chew. I do find that the timing of it is awfully convenient to open things up, to allow people to buy for early access. Dude, there were so many people watching this game on Twitch. There were actually so many people that all the servers were slammed. Those were all people that bought the game to play and then to come out a few days later. I'm really curious to see if people that asked for a refund got a refund. And then after this point, will they get a refund if someone asks for it?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.